I really like that in the book, how you did have those connections with family, because there's nothing like family, you know?
And those are tough connections because there's a lot of pain
Yeah.
and it's difficult.
Yeah.
I remember when I first confronted my 16-year-old daughter who I had denied,
Mm-hmm.
like to her face when she was 12 years old, right after I walked out of the courtroom when the judge told me she was 99.89% my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked out of the courtroom. She was sitting in the waiting room, and I said, I don't know who your father is, but I ain't him.
Mm-hmm.
So I was caught in my addiction at that time. I had no sense of responsibility, and I didn't know that what was going on in the background, because my father did the same thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
He did the
Mm-hmm.
exact same thing to me. And so it's amazing how history repeats itself. Generational traumas continue to multiply. But the hope shot is that we get an opportunity once we have broken the chain, we get an opportunity to make amends. And when I say make amends, I'm not saying I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
but to actually be there and to actually
Just
put
the
effort
relationship.
into building a relation.
And that's one thing when we talk about our trauma and the things that we go through, especially as black men, because that Papa was a Rolling Stone mentality, wherever he laid his hat was his home. But when all he left was alone, all he left was alone. And no legacy, no heritage, no wealth, no nothing. But dude, you talk about that, and it reminded me of my father, who was terrible when you go to your father's person. I ain't going to say that father's a big word. Father means you took responsibility, you raised, you nurtured, you raised your kids to be men and women. But this guy who I'm going to say my sperm donor to go to his funeral when he died, and all his friends, supposedly his best friends, say they never knew he had sons. That's a hurt piece. You talking about a hurt, you talking about a spiritual and emotional hurt piece. All you can do is just stand there and just take it. And you see the man who is supposedly your father laying in a casket, and that's all you have. From kid to holding on to his pants leg, and he's saying he's going to come back and take you to the zoo or take you to the park, to 40 years later or whatever, he's laying in a casket, and that's all you have as far as the relationship from there to there. And that breeds a lot of resentment. That's the things that we go through. And I ain't going to say this is men to that, where we get hurt along the way, the trauma that we have to deal with. And because perfect, I don't have any kids today. So I'm grateful that was, even though I don't have a kid, I'm grateful that that tie was broken, that I didn't do that to my children. And, but I'm joyful. What the hope is, I have a brother, and he has two kids, and he nourishes his kids, and he takes care of his kids, and he's been in his kids' life their whole life. So I see the chain has been broken through just watching him being an absentee father and not taking care of your kids, and not, because that wasn't the experiences that they had, or not the experiences that we've had. Because a lot of things I've been through, like I said, I have a brother, we've been through together. I have one brother, one sibling. And we've been through so many things together. A lot of the trauma that I've experienced as a kid and as a young man, we experienced together. We had all the way from being little kids in foster care to being adult men today, living lives free of drugs and alcohol and living spiritual lives. And both of us are not church going men, or as some would say you need to, but no, we live spiritual lives today. And when we found our path through that, through spirituality. And we're living, I want to say, our best lives, really, beyond our wildest dreams, beyond our wildest dreams.